Oh, the queen 10, yeah. Right, yeah.
It's hard to kind of take them on that journey
Yeah, so I'm going down Sunday night through, I'm coming back Tuesday night to Atlanta. And then
No, that's
for the next week, I'm actually driving home to Miss Flora.
if I open Tuesday this week. If I open.
It's too quick of a trip.
So are you a regular worker?
The default is
We should try to go down once a year.
I try to be.
I've been here for the last couple. I love going on road trips. But my dad.
Are you also going to go over 4-3-2 kind of thing?
Actually, this is very disciplined. So many
I like that.
and what I've learned the most
Give yourself
it is good to know what you're doing. I just need to get used to playing with, but it's also good with groupies, so that you work with different parts.
But I almost feel like you can go for I usually go to
What I'm planning on doing, do you have to week work out yeah. I'm retired in September, and I plan to go. I was going to come where I've done 9-day course, and I'm glad I did. It's at least because when I look at this board, it was the way on that comes with it, lets you know and you can see, and I would have been like sitting here, and nobody would have with me. But that happens. Oh yeah. So I want to like. I know I need to have more courage. And I play. I have a couple games on Seattle, and it actually helps me. Wonderful things, but I still don't understand all the different signals that you get. Like Jacoby and all this kind of stuff. When you want to, give a signal to your partner that you want them to bid next suit, you want them to take the bid. That's right over time. So I'm going to come to you because I want to play. Good. You're gonna come tomorrow. You come every Sunday. But maybe not. Last week I had it's got lunches all weekend. Wimbledon. That's really my favorite sport. I've done that before. And like I said, the week before, it's the 4th of July weekend. Sometimes when I went to Minnesota, last year, I, sometimes on my Sunday night, and if I had to get up and get here and everything else, right now I wake up about 4:30 in the morning to go to school. So, but that was
great. So in November you're retired.
yeah, and it's but you played, have you both you played for years, had it on and on.
15 years ago,
I played.
in March, I started coming on the earlier lessons.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring it back.
Drove me crazy. Yeah, I started playing over there. Picking up.
That helped you a great deal.
Enjoy it.
It happened to me a couple of times.
Did you get more water?
Like waiting for them to say, and it's like agonizing. You're agonizing over the what they're doing. This thing, so which is why I like to limit like card players, right? They never play poker or pinochle or anything. It depends on the area.
All right. Let's bring it back.
Why have
Take
we get over
two.
95
Take two.
a month or two?
All right. Having a void will not prevent me from opening a preempt. Okay. Having a void and having other features of my hand will prevent me from opening with a preempt. So I've got this hand. You know, if I'm in second seat, does this hand meet the qualifications of a preempt? It does. I have a good 6-card suit. I've got a void, and the void doesn't necessarily bother me much, but if I catch my partner opening this hand with a major, okay, are we in our best spot? Not if I open with 2 diamonds. Okay, this hand's going to play better in a major. So even though I have a hand that meets the qualifications of a preempt, I'm not going to preempt this hand first or second seat. Third seat, I'm going to open this hand with a preempt all day long. My partner forgot to, if he has a 5-card major and opening hand, he forgot to tell me, I'm going to get my money's worth in preempt. Does that make some sense?
Yep.
Now, I said we were going to talk about responding to partners preempt. Before we do that, I am going to talk about vulnerability. Vulnerability is important when you preempt. It is not important when you preempt a weak 2. If I have the qualifications for a weak 2, especially playing disciplined weak 2s, if I've got a disciplined weak 2, I'm opening whether I'm vulnerable or not. I've got a good suit. I've got the 6 cards out. I've got a good 6-card suit. I'm not worried about the other cards in the other suits. If I meet the qualifications, I'm opening with a preempt. For a weak 2, plain discipline. Plain undisciplined weak 2s or random weak 2s, little different. Now, who can tell me if the opponents can make 4 hearts and they are vulnerable and I'm not? How many can I go down in 4 spades and be better off?
Not double.
Okay, double.
Double, sorry.
Okay. So the opponents can make 4 hearts. They're vulnerable. I'm not. How many can I go down, okay, and be better off? Getting double.
How much will they make 4 hearts?
Well, let's calculate that. Okay. Vulnerable game. Yep. Let's do this. All right. What's the value of a vulnerable game? We'll say game in a major. 620. Not vulnerable? 420. You do not need to memorize this.
Back of the card.
Because it's on the back of the card and you can always look it up. However, there are some scores that you should know. These are part of those.
And you can't look it up while you're bidding, by the way.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the back. You seriously no double cards in this? Yeah. On the back of the double card, it'll actually show you how bad things will go if you get doubled. Okay? Vulnerable slam. 1430 and 980. Double down one vulnerable. 200, 100. I'm just going to go real quickly. All right. So if the opponents are vulnerable and can make game, which is always an if. Has anybody here ever set the opponents in a vulnerable game contract? Please, everybody, raise your hand. Okay? So if they can make 620, if I'm vulnerable and go down 2, I'm minus 500. That is better than allowing the opponents to make 620. If I go down 3, that's 1 too many. Okay, the opponents could only make 620 and they got 800. Same thing for not vulnerable. The opponents can make 420. Not vulnerable, if I'm doubled down 2, I'm okay. I'm minus 300, which is better than minus 420, but if I'm down 3, then I'm worse off. Does this make some sense? Okay. If the opponents can make 6 hearts and are vulnerable, and you are not, you can go down 6 in 6 spades and be better off than allowing the opponents to fulfill a 6-heart contract. This has happened to me. It's like my partner's got spades and I've got spades, and I'm like, yep, 6 spades, y'all figure it out. Looks and smells like you can likely make slam if you want to bid 7. Pays your money and takes your chances, but okay.
I don't get that one.
Okay, the opponents can make 1430. They're vulnerable. Okay, so they're in 6 hearts. If they make 6 hearts, they'll get 1430. If I'm doubled down 6 in spades, I get minus 1400. So I'm better off than allowing the opponents to bid and make their vulnerable slam.
Wow. Big points.
Yes.
Those are the area codes you're talking about.
Yes, yes. These down at the bottom are the area codes I'm talking about. Yes, ma'am. Or yes, sir.
On the handout sheets at the end, and you're seeing your rank, how does, I get confused when I'm looking at the scoring sheets, and if I'm down 1 or 2, and everybody else is on north-south is making the game.
Okay. And I can go over that with you at some point, but basically when you get your score sheet at the end, it's going to show what your score is. Okay, I am minus 200, and it will compare that minus 200 to what everybody else did on that hand, and it will tell you how many people you beat. That's what a recap will do. My score on this board was this, and on this score, on the recap, it'll show what everybody did, and it'll give you a number that shows on this hand you beat this many other pairs. So if 8 is a top and you got a 6, then you beat 6 other pairs. And I'll go over it with you afterwards. Does this make some sense? Okay. Now I am going to roll this up into a rule. And it is not a rule, it is a guideline. It is a guideline that I would encourage you to think about. It is called the rule of 2, 3, and 4. this is the rule of 2, 3, and 4. If I am in unfavorable vulnerability, which, by the way, when I think of unfavorable as far as vulnerability, I'm thinking about preempting. Okay? If you're going to give me a preemptive hand, please make me non-vulnerable against vulnerable opponents, because that's where I'm going to get my money's worth. Okay? If I am favorable vulnerability for a preempt, okay? I am white and they are red. I am not vulnerable and they are vulnerable. I want to be within 4 tricks of my bid. Okay, what this presupposes is that my partner just shows up with 1 trick for me. If my partner just shows up with 1 trick for me, I'm better off bidding game or bidding and going down double than allowing the opponents to make a game. Okay? If I'm equal vulnerability, I want to be within 3 tricks of my bid. Presupposes that my partner shows up with 1 trick for me. And if I am unfavorable, I want to be within 2 tricks of my bid. Okay, which is pretty darn hard to have when you're a preempt. Okay, so it's a high bar to cross to preempt favorable versus unfavorable. And it doesn't mean you got to follow this rule. Okay, but it's a good guideline for just how far you're sticking your neck out. Okay, so I put a hand up earlier. How many tricks can I take on this hand in a spade contract? Unless something really abnormal happens, I can take 6. Okay? So I am safe bidding to, depending on the vulnerability, unfavorable. If I'm vulnerable against non-vulnerable opponents, the law of 2, 3, and 4 says I shouldn't preempt this hand. Okay, I'm sticking my neck out farther than is a good thing to do. Personally, I would ignore that. Okay, this is a 3-spade preempt.
Shouldn't you be counting losers? Because that's when you'd open 4 spades with that, right? You've got 6, 7 losers.
Oh, not unfavorable?
In any instance, right? So I've got 7 losers. I've only got 7 losers.
Okay.
So if I have favorable vulnerability, that means I need to be, you know, so you take 4 off 7, leaving you with 3. Well, right? And so I should be happy bidding up to 3 spades.
Slow that math down.
Yeah, no, I got them. I'm just not used to doing it like that. So count your losers. How many losers do I have? What's worst case scenario?
7.
I've got 7. I've got this ace and this 7. So I've got 7 losers.
Less the 4, that's your cushion, right?
Okay.
'Cause you're
So favorable, subtract.
4, because that's like you're free. You're getting that. This rule is giving you those 4 free, right? And now you have 3 losers left, which actually, and that's.
Yeah,
When I said it out loud.
Yeah, this actually
four
is.
spades. Yeah, this is. So now you can bid 4 spades, right? So that's. Because if you bid 4 spades, you expect to lose 7 tricks in total, with nothing from your partner.
Yeah, the law, the rule of 2, 3, and 4 presupposes 1 trick.
But even if you got nothing from them, right?
If I get nothing from my partner, I'm going to be down 800,
You're down 4, right?
which is worse than allowing the opponents to make game.
I know, but I'm saying that that's a more reliable way of calculating whether you should open this or not, a preempt. Right, so, you know, in this.
All right,
say-
so give it to me vulnerable.
Right, so
I'm vulnerable.
you're still the same 7 losers.
Okay, I got 7 losers.
I get 2 freebies, right?
Okay,
So now I'm left with 5 losers.
okay.
And therefore I need to be, you know, I can only bid, what is it? 2 spends. Right, because I'm gonna lose 5,
So we take 7 minus 5 is 2,
right.
because 7 are the,
Well, not 7, so there are 5 losers, so if I had 0 losers after doing this math, I would bid 7 spends.
right,
Right, so you knock off 5 from that is 2
From the
spends.
7, you
Yeah,
get
from
2.
the 7. But not 7 because there are 7 losers, 7 because that's the maximum number of tricks.
right, that's the total number left.
Right,
Okay, this math is gonna work out the same,
okay.
okay? Counting losers, well, and I'll actually extend this.
You said we had to know how to add, you never said.
I'm working on it. So I've got this hand. Okay?
And this is where your approach and my approach will land up in different answers, right? Because you, according to you, you're still going to lose the same number of spades.
No, here I anticipate I've got 5 winners. Could have 6, but.
Okay, so you can do your math your way, and you won't preempt that hand.
Actually,
The math. Just following the math. I'm not talking
Yeah.
about what your instinct is.
right. Okay, so how many losers do I have on this hand? Doing
You have
strict
7.
loser count?
7, 8, 9.
Okay, so I've got 6, 7, 8.
7, 8, yeah.
Okay. And by the way, loser count is any card, just strict losing trick count, any card which isn't an ace, a king, or a queen in a suit. You have at most 3 losers in any suit. Okay, if you've got an ace, a king, or a queen, you'll decrease the number of losers by how many honor cards you have. So this has 6 losers outside of the spade suit and 2 losers in the spades because I'm missing the ace and the queen, so I've got an 8 loser hand. Okay, so if I am favorable vulnerability, then I've got 4 free, subtract is 4,
Bid 3 spends.
bid 3 spades.
Because 7 minus 4 is 3.
Sorry?
What's left is 7, 7 minus 4 is 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay, and now unfavorable. Yeah, I really don't like this, by the way, even a little, but seriously, even a little. But I'm going to write it down. So 8 losers and unfavorable. I've got 2 free. So it says I can lose 6 tricks. So I wouldn't bid this hand because I'm safe to bid at the 1 level. Equal, it says, and equal.
So that's why 432 is really for higher level preempts.
Yeah.
It's not an alternative to your 2-level preempt. Your 2-level preempt.
Yeah, 2-level preempts are 2-level preempts.
No,
Sorry?
why did you bring that up?
Because he's talking about higher level preempts. Now,
I don't understand, what is?
I'm with you, but what this is, using the rule of 2, 3, and 4, says if I'm equal vulnerability, okay, I count my number of losers. I've got 8 losers. Okay, I've got 3 free because I'm equal. Okay, so subtracting 8 from 3 leaves 5, which means I can lose 5 tricks, which means I'm safe to bid at the 2 level.
What is 3 freezes?
It means that based on equal vulnerability, I'm giving myself, I can lose 3 without worrying about it. Okay? So I've got 8 losers, I've got 3 free, So I can lose 5 tricks, which means I'm bidding safe to bid at the 2 level. Okay? Another way of doing this is counting how many tricks I think I can take, which is kind of the same as counting losers, but opposite. So with this suit, how many tricks do I think I can take? I'm going to take
3.
Yeah, 5.5, maybe 6, maybe the ace is offside, maybe I'm a good guesser. So if I can take 6 tricks with this hand, okay, big honkin' F, then if I can take 6 tricks, I want to be within 3 tricks of my bid, equal vulnerability. I want to be within 4 tricks of my bid, a favorable vulnerability. And at unfavorable, I want to be within 2 tricks. Okay, so I know I don't have 7, I don't anticipate I can take 7 tricks on this hand. So with a vulnerability, this might be too expensive to preempt at the 3 level.
And this 2, 3, 4 assumes you're going to get 1 trick from your partner.
Yep, assumes you're getting 1 trick from your partner.
And
It doesn't assume anything. The reason why the levels exist is because of the math Ed did in the whiteboard before. Your partner can show up with nothing.
Right.
Right? So that's just saying, hey, look, partner, please show up with 1 trick.
Right.
Right? So it's just a rule of thumb. Right? But when you do this evaluation in your hand, whether you do it using winners, which I wouldn't do, or if you do it with losers, like Ed wouldn't do, pick one, right? And then do this math. And that's kind of what the field will do, right? That's what you should expect a competent field will be doing.
Right. So in the back of your mind, okay, there are hands that you would open with a preempt, non-vulnerable, that you would not open vulnerable. Okay. And if you're non-vulnerable against vulnerable opponents, you have the ability to take liberties. The rule of 2, 3, and 4, and whether you lose how many tricks you expect you can take versus how many losers you have, will allow you to quantify that to determine just how far you're sticking your neck out. Now, personally, with this hand, am I going to open this hand vulnerable? 3 spades? Personally, I probably would. Am I sticking my neck out farther than is warranted?
Yes.
Probably not. Now, would I open this hand 2 spades?
Yes.
Okay. Is this a 2-spade opener with vulnerable versus non-vulnerable? You open this hand 2 spades?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
What
Now,
would you do?
I used to play with an A-flight player who passed away. And I had a hand that looked like this. Does this look and smell like a preempt?
Yes.
It does. Okay, and I'm thinking, this hand looks and smells like a preempt, but I'm vulnerable against non-vulnerable opponents. I am not going to open this hand 3 spades. It just doesn't look like a vulnerable 3-spade opener. So I opened it 2 spades. And my partner expected me to have 6, and I had 7, and he was not happy, is what it is. I said, it just didn't feel like a 3-spade preempt. He said, if you're going to preempt to the level of your trump. It will allow me to make intelligent decisions. Okay. So in his world, and again, national class player, this is either a pass or a 3-spade bid. It is not a 2-spade bid. Now personally, I'm opening this hand 2 spades. And does it meet any kind of rule?
It does actually.
It's got cards.
No. Oh yeah, it's
7
getting,
minus,
Yeah, it's,
Do the math.
counting this as a loser is,
Well,
yeah.
Well, that's, I
it's-
mean, you
yeah,
gotta
it's
follow
just
some
math.
system, it's just math.
Yeah, so here I've got 5, 6, 7 losers.
Yeah.
7.
Again, losing trick count, and with all apologies to Ron Klingler, who wrote a number of good books, and losing trick count is a very good tool
In very specific situations.
in very specific situations. Counting this as a 2-loser suit seems overly optimistic to me. Okay, ace third, I've got a 2-loser suit. This could be 2, could be 3, you call it 2. So anyway, here I've got 7 losers, 2, 2, 1, and 2 up top. 7 losers, if I am unfavorable vulnerability, I get 2 free. Says I can lose 5 tricks, which means I'm safe at the 2 level, I'm not safe at the 3 level. Are we getting mathy? Yes. What you need to remember, and I'm going to give you this. I'm going to put this hand back up again, and we are not going to think about the math, although we can. This math is going to work out either way. Okay, so counting up how many tricks you can take.
6.
You can take 6. Okay. Favorable vulnerability, I want to be within 4 tricks of my bid. Okay, so I'm safe to bid to the 4 spade level. Assumes 1 trick from my partner. Using the losers, I've got 7 losers. And favorable, I've got 4 free. Says I can lose 3 tricks, which says I'm safe to bid to the 4 level. Okay? Change it to equal, and I'm preempting this hand 3. 3 spades. Equal, 7 losers, I've got 3 free. Says I can lose 4 tricks. If I can lose 4 tricks, I'm safe to bid to the 3 level. Oops. Unfavorable. 7 losers. 2 free, says I can lose 5 tricks, which means I open 2 spades. Personally, wild horses couldn't keep me from bidding this hand 3 spades. It looks and smells like a 3-spade preempt. Throwing that out there. Yes, ma'am.
On the one that said that you were safe to bid at the 4 level.
Yep.
Does that mean that, is that saying that you would have opened at the 4 level?
Yes, non-vulnerable against vulnerable opponents. And what the rule of 2, 3, and 4 does is it says, is this hand big enough to preempt? And if it is, what level should I preempt at?
Okay, so that is totally different. You don't pay attention to whether you have 6 of them, 7 of them, or 8 of them.
It tends to fall in line. Okay, it's rare circumstances where I'm going to preempt to a level different than the number of cards I have in a suit.
It's a whole lot easier to count the cards in a suit.
Absolutely.
But it's something to consider.
Yeah, but that's where, so this is where you're going to need to play and go down some. Because if you preempt and you never go down, you're probably not pushing your preempt far enough.
Right.
And you preempt and you get doubled all the time, you probably pushed it too far.
My way
Right.
of looking at it, you are bringing a little discipline in an undisciplined hand.
Okay.
Well, if you preempt and you don't go down, aren't you getting double benefit? You kept them from bidding and you actually didn't go down. So
Well-
why would you say that was, you weren't pushing hard enough? It seems like to me you got both ends there.
Because you're trying to be disruptive, right?
Well, you were, you kept them from bidding.
Yeah, but maybe they were not planning to bid anyway.
Right.
Well,
Right.
that,
So back to Ed's, to Ed, no, well, you know, Ed's math on the prior thing said, oh, if they can make 6 hearts, then I can go down 6, right? But if they could not make 6 hearts, you just took,
A massive,
yeah, a massive hit. You traded plus 50 for minus 1,400.
right.
Well, why would you want to bid to the level that you actually go down to keep them from bidding when you could just bid the level that you make it to keep them from bidding?
That's a fair point. All I'm saying is, experiment with that edge, right? So if you want to, so if you never go down, well, that's good. Maybe it's because your preempting is so spot on, you always steal from the opponents, right? It also could be you don't preempt enough, right?
So you don't
Okay.
win big.
So so this is a good hand. But by the way, I saw somebody preempt this hand, except it was, you know, it was, they had an extra king, but it was not like it was particularly useful. It was Mark Dahl, I was kibitzing him, 5 spades to the king, 5 clubs to the king, right? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Your partner opens 2 spades and the next person doubles. Actually opens 3 spades.
That's your hand?
That's my hand.
4 spades.
What can we make? What can the opponents make? Almost certainly.
In hearts.
How many? Well, probably 7. Because my partner is going to have 7 spades for his 3 spade preempt. So as far as I know, they can make 7 hearts. I don't have anything outside. So any defensive tricks we have are going to be taken from my partner. So what do I bid with this hand?
Six spades.
I could bid 6 spades and hope they don't bid 7 hearts. Because if they double us, we're better off. We're gonna take 7 spade tricks
Would you
and
go like
maybe a heart ruff and maybe a couple of heart ruffs. Okay, but we're gonna be down no worse than 6. So non-vulnerable against vulnerable opponents, I'm okay. And knowing, bridge certainty, they can make 6 hearts. Okay, because my partner is going to have 7 spades and at most 1 card outside. So when he has 7 spades, they're trumping the first spade trick. So any tricks we're taking are outside the spade suit, and he doesn't have high cards there. Okay? So here, I'm safe to bid 6 spades. I hope they don't bid 7 hearts. If they bid 7 hearts, I'm very likely better off bidding 7 spades.
Buckle up, let's go.
Buckle up. Okay, equal, I'm probably about the same math. Okay, equal vulnerability. My partner's taking 7 spade tricks and I get a heart ruff, assuming they don't have 11 hearts between them. Okay, so when your partner preempts, you can support him aggressively.
And once, right? So
Yeah.
don't bid 4 spades and then 5 spades.
Right.
And then 6 spades and.
Preempt to the level.
When you are preempting, go as high as you can, as quick as you can. Okay, that's why when I preempt, I'm bidding as much as I can. So I've got a question of, do I open 3 spades right away or do I wait? I bid 3 spades right away. Deal with me.
Isn't that a rule that if your partner is preempting, you should have at least 50 points for go per game?
No. Her question was, is it a rule that you should have 15 points to go for game when your partner preempts? No, there's actually a rule called the Rule of 17. Rule of 17, simply stated, says add the number of trump you have with the number of high card points you have. And if that equals 17 or more, you have you should usually be able to fulfill a game contract. Does it always work? No, but as far as rules go, it's pretty good. Okay. But I've got this hand. Two spades double. Okay, what do I think we can make? God, I don't know. I'm hoping my partner has, the ace of spades. Okay, but I anticipate, well, what can the opponents make?
Anything.
Anything they want. Now, if you're playing an undisciplined week 2, it's possible your partner has a jack-high suit with the ace-king outside. So you aren't really able to gauge the level of defense that your side has. Okay, but with this hand, I know the opponents can make game. Okay. Well, and then you think about the vulnerability. Okay. Seriously, how many tricks can we take in a 4-spade contract? Best case scenario, I'm thinking 8. My partner likely doesn't have a 4-card heart suit, so I think we're going to be down 2. Best case scenario. Okay, well, if I'm vulnerable versus non-vulnerable opponents, okay, double down 2 is minus 500. And the opponents can only make 420 unless they can make a slam. Okay. Still might bid 4 spades. Okay. Likely in bidding 4 spades, but just have in the back of your mind, if the opponents can't make it to slam, then they aren't doing better than 450 or so. In non-vulnerable versus vulnerable opponents, wild horses can't keep me from bidding 4 spades. Let them figure it out. Equal vulnerability, 4 spades. Let them figure it out. Okay, favorable, unfavorable vulnerability. Have in the back of your mind that you're taking a significant risk. Okay, if you get doubled. Doesn't mean don't bid 4 spades with this hand. Okay, just have in the back of your mind that 4 spades might be walking into a please come and double me. You just wave a big red flag, come whack me. And, minus 500 very possibly won't be a good score for you. On the other hand, bidding 4 spades makes it more difficult for them to find their 5th. Because they have to start bidding at the 5 level. Now, I'm going to give you something very simple. Responding to, first I'm going to give you a rule. This is an ironclad rule that I don't always. Okay. When I preempt, I'm not bidding again unless my partner asks me to bid again. Okay. I've preempted as high as I can, as quick as I can. I'm not taking another dip in the well. Okay, so this hand. I'll give you an example where I've seen somebody do something very, very bad. Let's just do this. Okay? And you are vulnerable against non-vulnerable opponents. And you decide, you know, I can take, and we'll just do the math. How many tricks can I take? Take 7 tricks. So I'm safe to unfavorable. I want to be within 2 tricks of my contract. So I'm not going to open this hand 4 spades. I'm going to open this hand 3 spades. So it goes 3 spades, and the opponent's bid 4 hearts. Pass, pass. What do you bid? You pass. You bid as high as you could, as quick as you could. As God is my witness, someone did this. Yeah, and if you're gonna do it anyway, do it right away. Start there. Okay? Once you've preempted, your partner's in charge. Okay? So preempt as high as you can, as quick as you can. You don't do this. Does that make some sense? Now, I'm going to give you a very simple rule for responding to your partner's preempt, and it is called, excuse me, ROMF. Okay? I would encourage you to actually have this on by convention card. Raise is the only non-forcing bid.
Wrong feed.
Okay? Raise is the only non-forcing bid. And by the way, if I force you to bid again, I want you to bid again. Okay? So 2 spades, pass, 3 hearts. If you play romp, is this forcing? Yes, partner is not allowed to pass. Okay. What this means is that if you have this hand, two spades, pass, and you say to yourself, you know, 2 spades is not going to be a good contract. Hearts is going to be a better contract. Okay? Is that a good thought? It actually is a good thought. I think hearts is probably going to be better than spades. You should have that thought in the back of your mind. The second thing is there anything I can do about it?
But you said that you are not supposed to preempt your partner.
That's correct. So with this hand, I just pass.
Help me understand, why is it a better contract? You don't know if your partner's void in hearts?
Absolutely, but I'm only looking at 1 spade. So hearts may play better than spades. And I've got this good suit. Okay? But with this hand, I'm going to pass. My partner doesn't have a good hand. I don't have a good hand. When that's the case, where should you play the hand? As low as possible. Okay? Do not try to improve the contract by bidding 3 hearts with this hand, because, first of all, it's a forcing bid. What's your partner going to do?
Bid.
He's going to bid again. Okay? He's either going to bid 4 hearts, which might be dealt with harshly. Because if he, best case scenario, he's got 6 spades, he's got 3 hearts, he's got 4 cards in the minors, probably not making this contract. 2 spades might be the last place you can make. Could be. Does that make some sense? If you have a fit for your partner, you may raise him aggressively. But look at this hand. What do I think we can make? What do I not want to hear from the opponents? Rather not hear hearts, because, you know, as far as I know, they can make hearts. Do I think we can make game on this hand? Well, let's, and when you're counting tricks, let's just go best case scenario. Okay? Best case scenario, partner has 6 trump tricks. We take 2 heart roughs. And 2 tricks in minors. Well, my partner probably doesn't have fitting cards in the minors. So either the king of diamonds is on side or the ace of clubs is on side if one of those 2 things happen. So can we make game on this hand? Maybe. Do I want to be in game on this hand? And you've seen I'm just drawing this, so now I'm going to think, do I want to be in game on this hand? Nah, because I don't anticipate, this is a lot of good things happening. Okay? And it's not that many good things happening. I expect we can take 2 tricks in the minors. Okay? And taking 6 trump tricks presupposes my partner has a good trump holding. And 2 heart roughs, if my partner, he may or may not have entries to his hand to take those 2 roughs if they put a trump on the table. Okay? But, all of that said, now, does 3 spades show interest in game? No. 3 spades is not invitational. 3 spades is not invitational. 3 spades is my partner had a bunch of spades and wanted to get in the opponent's way. I am going to extend that preempt. 3 spades is not look at your hand and bid 4 if you have a good preempt. 3 spades is cooperative.
You are saying if he opens 3 spades?
If he opens 2 spades, well, I'm going to make the hand a little worse. Okay. With this hand, do I think we can make game? No, a month full of Sundays. Okay? It could. Okay? So if I bid 3 spades with this hand, what is that doing? It's not saying, look at your hand and go to 4. It's saying, I think that if you have spades and you wanted to get in the opponent's way, I want to get in their way some more. Does that make some sense? Now, if you're playing against people who aren't going to do anything over the 2 spade bid, bidding 3 spades might walk you into a down 1 situation where you could have been making 2 spades. Okay? Usually 2 spades pass. Person on my left is going to be taking some action if they're short in spades. Okay, because I know that the opponents have at least half the deck. They just do.
Do you know that?
Because my partner isn't going to open 2 spades with an opening hand, and I've got a 11 count. So we have, best case scenario, 20 points. They have 20 points, half the deck. Okay, so 3 spades is not a look at your hand and go to 4. 3 spades is I want to make it more difficult for them to come into the auction. And if they bid 4 hearts, I've got some defensive ability that I think we might be able to set a 4 heart contract. Yes, sir.
We go, you talk talk about to-no response over the two spades?
I do.
When do you want to do this and when do you want to respond to that?
Okay, does this concept make sense? I don't think we can make game. Okay, but I want to extend the preempt. Yes.
So you're saying with this hand, if you're playing against competitive players, you probably say 3 spades. If you're playing against non-competitive players, you probably pass.
You know, and I'm not going to say play against your opposition, but yeah, if you think that you can buy the hand for 2 spades, maybe you don't bid 3 spades. And that's happened to me before. It's like, oh, there's no way this person's bidding on this hand, and I bid 3 spades and I'll go down 1. As opposed to, yeah, this person's bidding, it's coming into the auction. Or change it to this. Okay, still might bid 3 spades. Still will bid 3 spades. I don't think we can, I'm not saying go to 4. Under no circumstances am I inviting you to take any other action. I'm not inviting you to, once you've preempted, you told me your hand and you put me in charge. This hand I'm bidding 3 spades, and you know, you paid your money, you take your chances. They bid 4 hearts, I hope we can settle. If they allow us to play 3 spades, I should be in a good spot. Does that make some sense? Now, there will be occasions where you have a good hand. Who's that? 15? Well, that's too many. It's about right. It's about right. Well, this hand has, let's just use a rule of 17. Add up your high card points. Okay, 15, I've got 3 trump. Okay, rule of 17 says I want to be in 4 spades on this hand. What can we make? Well, let's see. Standard 2-spade preempt. Now I'm going to fill it in. You. So what are we losing? Well, on this hand, we're going to lose a heart, we're going to lose a diamond, or we're going to lose at least 2 clubs. Partner had the wrong hand for me. God, I hate that. Okay? Can we make anything here? Well, we're going to lose 1 or 2 diamonds, we're going to lose a club, and we're going to lose 1 or 2 hearts. So now I'm thinking about the rule of 17 and saying, you know, my partner has a rotten, I'm not going to say a rotten preempt,